So the first month of 2025 is in the books and things are happening in the market. Let's look into it. Hi, my name is Jeremy Tremblay. I'm a realtor that works here in the Belleville and surrounding areas. If you have any questions following this video, definitely reach out. My information down below in the description. Also, if you're wondering about this area around Belleville and want to know more information, check out my channel. I have many other videos. You can hit subscribe, hit the little thumbs up. Let's get to it. So as I mentioned, the first month, January of 2025 is over. We are now into February, and that means the stats are available for that first month. Now we're going to quickly go over, every month I go over 4 main stats to give a little bit of an idea, but after that I go into what I'm really seeing, kind of boots on the ground knowledge, because as you can imagine, these are all lagging stats. With January, these are stats that have already occurred, and they give a little bit of an idea of the trend, but I want to give you a better idea of what's actually happening on the ground, so stick around for that. So the first thing we're going to look into here is the months of inventory. So if you've never heard of months of inventory, essentially is a stat that breaks down where the market is at. Is it a balanced market, buyer, seller? Well, this is where they're getting that data from. So essentially, if you have 3 months or less, that would be considered a seller's market. If you're somewhere between the 3 and 5, that's considered more in the balance range. And then over 5, then you're getting into buyer's territory. And so when we look at the stat here, this month, January, the stat went down a little bit. So we were at 4.8, just below that 5 months of inventory. I was saying back in December that it was a good time to buy. There weren't many options available, but it was a good time to buy if you could find something. And that is showing true as we look at these statistics here. Last month, it was 5.6 months of inventory. Now we're at 4.8. So if we look forward, we now have average sale price. Everyone wants to know what's going on with the overall, whether you're buying or selling. And we had a downtick here. Now, if you look at these numbers, we started in August 2024. We had an average price of $578,000. And now I will say this is for Belleville and Quinte West. Those are the 2 areas I like to use because they're a good representation of this area. So $578,000 average price, and it just kept ticking down. And then in January, it just came in at $510,000. I will say I looked a little deeper in those stats, and a number of apartments and condos had sold, and those generally be at those lower price point. And I think that's what brought that average down. So in reality, if you're looking at things like detached homes, I don't think it did drop that much. I think it's actually evened out more so compared to last month. And then we look at the number of sales. So this one here goes hand in hand with that months of inventory we looked at. And as we've seen, the number of sales has been dropping consistently over the course of the last year. And then December was the low one. We had 54 sales, and January we bumped up to 67 sales. So we're gonna see here, things are showing that they're picking up. They're picking up pretty quickly after that December month. And finally, days on market. And so you look at this one here, last month, December of 2024, 45 days on market. That's how long it takes for a house to actually, from the day it comes on the market to the day that it's sold. That's how long it's been taking, 45 days. Gives you some time to think. Buyers had an opportunity, which is why it was kind of hovering towards a buyer's market. Well, this is a little bit deceiving. If you look here, we just came in at 60 days on market for January, which of course makes it seem like, wow, houses are sitting a lot longer. But if you look back in January of 2024, it was also extremely high. And I had explained it then, and I looked at the stats, and it's the same thing now. It takes the data from houses that have been sitting on the market and sold in this month. Meaning in January, there were houses that had been sitting on the market for that 60-day range, and they were finally selling in the month of January. And so houses that were a little bit more stagnant in those first few winter months leading up to Christmas. Christmas is normally the time of year when everyone's busy. They're doing many other things. December is not when they're looking to buy a home. And so houses were sitting longer. Buyers weren't really out there getting anything. And sure enough, because the transactions have gone up in January, we're seeing that days on market also went up. But for February, I would definitely suspect that we're going to see a drop in that. houses, from what I'm seeing, are not staying in the market nearly as long. So those are the stats. Things are definitely picking up. Even what I'm seeing here in the first couple weeks of February is that houses are starting to move that little bit quicker. Buyers are definitely out. And so what we're seeing in from December is that houses that were sitting there a little bit longer starting to sell, and houses that are coming on the market now in this time frame, January, February, are getting a lot more interest. We were not getting any, for instance, open houses in December, very quiet. Multiple offers were not happening at all in December, whereas what we've seen here, even the first couple weeks of February and the end of January, is that some houses were starting to see multiple offers. And those were not homes that were priced really low. They were actually priced around what I would say is market value. And people that are running open houses, I've seen myself, where suddenly people are showing up. They're much busier at these open houses. And that's always a kind of leading indicator of where buyers are at with this market. And so be aware of that. And then the other aspect is the overall economy. In January, we had the Bank of Canada that lowered the interest rate one more time, another 0.25%. It was expected, but that just means those that are getting a variable rate mortgage, it just keeps dropping. The fixed rate mortgages not moving at the same pace as the variable rate, but we are going to be seeing an effect, and this is where the overall global economy starts to play a factor. You're hearing about Trump and the tariffs that were coming in. Well, those got delayed, which was great, but only for 30 days. And so if at the end of that 30-day period, the tariffs of 25% do come in, that will have a pretty drastic impact on our economy. And then the Bank of Canada will have to react accordingly. So that may look like lowering interest rates. It may see inflation go up. And both those things have a huge impact on the housing market. And so it's a good time to stay informed. If you're in a position right now where you're looking to list or buy, in the short term, but even the long term, later in this year in 2025, or even thinking about into 2026, it would be a good idea now to start tracking what is going on. As I said before, if you want to have that conversation, reach out. My information is down below. You can send me an email, send me a text or a phone number. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're wanting to learn more about this area, check out my channel and the other videos. And lastly, if you've gotten any value out of this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that little thumbs up. Till next time.